Now, Paul Woolley will show us turning an ornament.
Well, these are the bells. But since tonight I'm doing a Christmas ornament, I'm going to turn a shorter one. Look like that, I hope. And I don't know if anybody, if y'all have ever turned any segmented work or not, and it's a little bit different. I'll try to start at the very beginning. For somebody that's never turned it or don't understand any segment. Now this is a 6-sided piece here. Got 6 segments. And if you're turning a 6-sided segment hole, you would have 6 sections at 60 degrees for 360. Take 360, divide it by your number of sections, and it comes up 60. So to make a 60-degree angle, you need 2 30s. So you'd set the tilt on your saw at 30 degrees, and you would come out with a 6-sided. When you do a stave, you've got a compound miter. So when you do a compound miter, you know, and I actually should have started back over here. To get before you cut it up, you take a piece of 3/4 inch, 1 inch maple, you rip it, run it through your planer, and glue a piece of 1/2 inch, that's 1/2 inch plywood. Like Jim said, you can buy 3/8 inch plywood. You just get you 2 pieces of 3/8 if you don't have a planer, you know. But you glue up 3/8 plywood or 3/8 walnut and 1/4 inch plywood, and to start with, then you cut your staves. As I was saying, when you cut your staves, when you do a compound, it changes the angle, and that was the hard part I was having trying to explain on this. This one here was a lot different angle than this one. This one was too much of an angle. I think is what I've decided on this piece was 10-degree angle this way. And to do that, there's a formula that you can use, and it's not anything I want to do. So I went on the website. It gives you all the different angles, and if you want like 12 sides or 8 sides, and whatever tilt you want on it, and whatever slant you want, it tells you where you can set your saw. And I was going to bring that, and I forgot to bring the website, but if you Google it, you can find it. And what I think I wound up with for this bell was a 10-degree. So if you're interested in doing it, I set the angle on my miter saw at, I think I set it at 7 degrees. And the tilt was, instead of 30 for a 6-inch, I had to turn it to 29.1. Now, those figures, you can start with that, but no matter what saw you got, so they're all different. So they're so delicate that what you do is you set your saw at that, and then you cut you a test piece. I took 2 1/2-inch pieces of plywood and glued them together and made 1-inch plywood. Then you can do a 3-sided, and then lay them flat on the table or on a straight surface. I just went ahead and cut all 6 since I had plenty of plywood. And then you hold it up, kind of tape together, and then check. And if it doesn't match, then you adjust your saw, whether you one way or the other, whether you've got a gap here or a gap back at the back. And you don't have to change it much, and then you just keep adjusting your saw till you get it exactly. Your miters are perfect. And after you do that, then you cut your staves. When you cut them, you're going to get fuzz on them. So before you glue them up, you take and you run them on a piece of sandpaper, and you knock that fuzz off each side. If not, you're going to contaminate the joint, and it won't have a good tight joint. So all your cut angles you want to run through there and knock the fuzz off of them. I use blue painter's tape, works real well. Tear off a strip of tape, lay it flat, put your stave on it, and lay the other one right up next to it. I always test them to make sure it's right. But after you test it and everything's right, then you just take your glue bottle and you run your line of glue along each edge, and don't forget to get the end. And then you just pick it all up. It says in the book. Larger hose clamp on the bottom, and then a smaller one on the top, and I glue it. And then you can also, I've got some other tape I use. It's Scotch 8884. It's a real stretchy tape. It's really expensive. It will work as a clamp on certain things. What'd you say?
You need another set of hands. Don't
Yeah. That tape usually.
Lost one.
Yes, the one.
Where's their sandpaper board? It's right underneath it.
Yeah, that's okay. Anyway, this stuff here is, I got it. Make it stretch and pull. And that works really well as a clamp sometimes.
Where'd you get that stretchy tape?
I ordered online. I don't remember exactly who I got it from. I said the number is 8884. You can Google it. It's Scotch.
What's the brand, Paul?
Scotch.
Scotch brand?
And somebody told me it was actually a byproduct of some other tapes and they come out with it. This comes to almost to a point at this end. And once you get your angle set and you get your stop on cutting this, it doesn't matter if you're cutting a board this wide or this wide, because once this point is set at where your cut is up here, it doesn't matter because it's all at an angle. So the top is going to be the same. It's just going to make a longer piece, like from that one versus this one. And I tried turning this one. It's way too long. It don't turn good. But these were cut with on the same exact stop because the top is the same. And then as you're cutting your angle, like I said, it just runs. You can cut a 1 foot board and it's still going to have the same exact top. You don't need to change any of your settings on your saw. That measures about 3 3/4 to 4 inches long, and that's about the size you want. But like I said, I was trying a lot of different sizes and different angles. This one's a little over 3 inches, and that'll be for the ornament versus the bell. The bell I would use that one is about 3 3/4 to 4 inches. This might fit in this chuck. First thing I do is turn a pin in. No, that's an inexpensive little grizzly. Here I just try to get this bottom square off a little bit, and then the main thing on this is just to get the bottom round. Make sure I turn all the flat spots off. That's pretty good right there. Now then, to get the design on that, I try not to come down too far on it. I try to have more walnut on the bottom. And you just come in and just start shaping your bell. see the white starting to show up. Plywood. I think it's starting to show up here at the bottom now. Yeah, right. Just gotta watch that because you get too deep and then you ruin it, you know. And you do a lot of sharpening because that plywood will dull your tools pretty quick. That bottom looks pretty good there. I'm okay with that. And you got to decide, I guess, how tall you want to make your ornament. Now at this point, I pretty much have my bottom in shape where I want it. So then I do my hollowing. I usually, when I hollowed, I would always just take my gouge and I would come in on this one, you don't have a lot holding, it's hollow in here. And if you do this, there's a chance that'll break. You don't have to ask me how I know, but I'll tell you it will happen. So what I figured out that's best for me is just cut from the end. We're putting the force up against the bell motion and just shape it. The hole in there is about the size of this, or smaller than the tip of this. I'm not big on carbon tip tools, but this really works good as far as getting that center small enough to get in there. Now I'm just making light cuts now so I can use this to put on the side. I'm not having. Just kind of shape the bottom. Now at this point is where I would sand it, and I would sand this all out and all the way up to here, and I'd actually put on a coat of finish on it to just. You have a piece of leather. I didn't bring it, but a lot of times I will put a piece of leather up against this stuff. These are soft gels here. They got the pins on them. I always try to center everything back with my tail top. Because anytime that's pretty close. Then you just got to decide, like I said, your height. Christmas ornament, I really don't want it too tall, not real heavy, but the shorter you make it, the bigger that hole is going to be on the top. And that plywood will chip out on you some too. I just until the piece chips.
Leave that little dowel on the end of that to put in your handle?
There's two ways. One of them up here, you can see where it's, if the hole don't show up, which that one's just starting to come through. I'm right at the edge of it. So what I'll do, I've got the shape I want. What I will do is take a 1/4-inch drill bit, and I'll just put a 1/4-inch hole right there, and then I'll turn a finial for it on there. Pretty much turning it is easy. That's the easy part. The prep work and getting it all ready, getting the saw set up, and that's where the time comes in. I said some of that's got a chip in the plywood there. Sometimes that plywood is real chippy. Should have squared that off when I got done with the last one. Take my calipers and I'll get a judgment on this. Turn that part first. We'll use this. We're really close. I left the emperor. I got a detail out, but I don't see it in there. What I'm doing is back cutting this. It's pretty good.
made that dowel fit in there, and you're kind of cutting the inside.
Yes, I'm back cutting this so it was,
Hold on the rope of the bell.
Yeah, so it-
Fit tight.
right, so it'll
Yeah.
fit back in here. I'm back cut. I have a detail gouge, but I don't see it. Maybe in the car, I don't know, I brought it. But that's usually what I use instead of that parting tool. And all I'm gonna do is just make a little ball on the end of this. At this point, I would probably sand this before I got any thinner down here. And that's just got a small nib in there that you can. That's all there is to it. I said the majority of the work is preparing it. Yeah, the plywood chips, if I get some of them chips, you know. Now you can sand that out.
Color is blue.
That's the glue. Yeah, well, I mean, it's just the color of the plywood. The black, I think, is the glue mostly.
Other than the expense, what if you took just like walnut, maple, cherry, and then, you know, in an 8-inch, make your own plywood?
Well,
It's hard with chipping bad.
really, I think you're better off. You get more color and more design when you use that old cheap stuff. You know, it gives it more character, I think, because you get different colors and different shades in there.
As opposed to the, like, Baltic birch or something.
Yeah, I think if you used a maple or a birch plywood, I don't think you would have near the design to it.
What if you use some of that colored plywood?
You could. Yeah, you could. This is just, and you know, this isn't limited just to bells. I guess you can make bowls and you know what you can come out with it and with plywood. Just, but I think it just has a really good design to it. There, it's pretty sharp.
Now the thickness has a lot to do with it.
What?
The thickness.
Yeah. Now, I had another one here. Some of that wood I had was like 1.25 inches thick. So when even after I planed it, I still had, you know, probably 1 inch thick, and that made a difference on your wood because you would have more. You could have more solid maple down here before you get to it, and you could take any variation. Like I said, I just started this last week. I'm still experimenting with myself. I'm not sure I've got the angle right. I think I'm awful close as far as the slant, you know, because I like the design the way it comes out, you know. But there's a lot of different things. Well, here's a big blank. Like I said, you can't. I tried turning a couple of these, and they just didn't come out good at all. And the main reason I think is because your point at the top has to be about the same. And you got such a long bell that don't look like a bell. But you can see that's thicker probably than the other. Versus this one, how much thinner it is. And they're going to turn different.
I think you need to make a little steeper angle this way.
Yes, right. That's why I said that was one of the ones that I didn't make. When I made it first, it was more of a straight up and down angle. And the hole at the top is too big. See, after you turn that down, it's about a 1/2 inch there, but if you drop that down about, you know, 3/4 of an inch, and you got about a 3/4 inch hole probably that you have to cover, and that's why this one bell. See, this is the same as that one I just turned, that's going around. And that's about the same thickness as that one there. Well, I said, what I'll do is I'll cut this down to about 4 inches like the one Brad. This is just like the one Brad's got, except I cut this down because I didn't want somebody to take it home and try to have to figure out how to resize it. So the size he's got's the correct size.
That's for the hand.
That's that was one of these. And I made the handle the same way I made that bowl on top. You just size it and back cut it. And first one I used for the first two I used epoxy on it. But the second one I glued it together, I kind of clamped it while I split out this here was so thin that this split. So I used super glue on this one. Just held it. That's it. Any questions? Thank you.